It's not fashionable to be openly racist anymore in America, unlike what they call the good old days. So
look at this. So what you're hearing, what's really instructive about this is you're watching people, this foul anti-white beast, monster, and this anti-white mayor fully engulfed in the anti-white narrative, but well aware of the fact that the claim of victimhood, the claim of white villainy is baseless. And so now what they try to say is, well, now it's all coded. Now it's all invisible. Ultimately, they now are defending DIE, D-I-E, of course they call it DEI, any attacks on it as the anti-white slur racist. What a surprise. As the new N-word. So you can see how they operate within the anti-white narrative and how we outside of it are able to circumvent and undermine it. But listen to the things she says. When she says them, when he says them, there's no use in getting really fired up over whether it's true or not. It's true in the anti-white narrative. It's false in the real world.
Referring to a black mayor as a DEI mayor gets the point across, right? So fellas, why don't you just say what you mean? You can't stand black people. We get it. You've been heard.
Now, how many of those people now who follow content creators who make this, who use just flippancy for, and again, I'm not saying that you can't laugh, you can't mock things, you can't, of course you can, but the tool that is wore out, that all they do is use, is this flippancy, this immature flippancy about serious things. Now you take these people who are already vegetabilized customers, they show up to watch that shit, and then they hear something like that, and they respond by saying, oh no, I will happily. I mean, talk about how dumb these people are. Talk about to have this one's name, her name is Joy Reid, isn't it? Talk about having this low IQ anti-white lead you around by the nose, how dumb you must be. TJ in the live chat saying, sadly, he's noticed that mentioning Jason or No White Guilt kills chat comment section of most other creators. Yeah, no surprise, no shock, right? No shit, Sherlock, because we are addressing and curing the problem, and they're busy wanting to have fun, making jokes and finding a scapegoat for why they are a loser and remedying and taking responsibility. Whoa, who invited the adults? Remember, tag me as No White Guilt. As we are here, I'm going to be taking a look at your comments a little bit more moving forward now that we're good on time, and your financial gifts as well. So tag me as No White Guilt. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear what your opinion is. And we will proceed. Coconut says, and good to see you, sister. She says, I love the background, No White Guilt. That's really cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let's see. Juliet is here. Hello to you. Jason is here. Michael is here. Azamud Galar. Klomp is here. Slotza is in the house. Klomp says, Christ is king. Cool Papa J Magic, an actual force of nature. I think probably not the right-hand man of God, but I think might be the left-hand man of God, says, I love God and I support No White Guilt. God bless you, brother. I support you as well. You're a hero. Rory is here. Very happy Easter to you and your family, and the same to you and your family and the beautiful babies that are on their way. Rick Freedom is in the house. Cool name, Rick Freedom. All right, Dan is here, and let us proceed with these vicious anti-whites. What's the problem with this woman? It's that she's anti-white. It's not that she's black. It's that she's anti-white. It is immoral to condemn people on the basis of their birth. We had a guy thinking that he was going to be on Twitter, thinking that he was going to be another midwit coming up against me, thinking it was going to be witty, when I had tweeted a white female was repeatedly shoved down the stairs by an anti-white black guy and would fall and stop herself. He'd run down, shove her again, fall and stop herself. And I said that when white women relinquish authority to men, white men of the West, this kind of thing will end. That's a fact. Why do I say that they have to relinquish authority to us? Because females are in authority. You want to go to jail right now? You just go ahead and have it out with a woman or women in your life. And a bunch of men will show up in pretty costumes and they will take you right off to jail. And the judge and the jury will believe everything that she says, and all of your friends will believe everything that she says. So don't bother telling me that it is otherwise. We all know it's the case. So some twit wrote back thinking it was going to be witty about clearly it was a Japanese person wanting again to shirk duty and responsibility as a white person and just blame it on blacks. So he wrote back and said, clearly it's a Japanese person suffering from sushi poisoning or something like that. So I wrote back, the teacher who controls his classroom suffers no misbehavior, irrespective of the parents. End of conversation. He didn't write back. No shit.
What is also clear is all the conspiracy theories are a distraction from the real effects of Tuesday's bridge collapse. Tonight, officials said...
Which, by the way, a bridge was hit yesterday by a barge. Where was that? Oklahoma or somewhere?
The remains of the two victims were recovered. The remains of two of the victims were recovered. Construction workers who had been working on the bridge. 4 others are presumed dead. There's also the economic fallout from the port of Baltimore being closed indefinitely.
Obviously, it's got to be opened, but they don't know when.
This port is one of the busiest in the country, 11th largest overall.
And notice how when you are outside of this white positive sphere, when you're not going free, you don't understand how to address this. They're trying to blame the Indians who were on the ship for piloting it in to the bridge. When smarter people realize, and unless there was some kind of aberration to the norm, that there is a harbor pilot that comes on at every harbor, boards before entering or exiting every time, because they know the harbor, so that there isn't a chance of this. So they want to blame the Indians. Why? Because they just want to blame non-whites. Then they want to blame the black mayor. I mean, how absolutely brain dead. They want to blame the black mayor of Baltimore, and they're doing that just because he's black. And they don't know. Their leaders are people like Elijah Schaffer, Nick Fuentes, etc. Those are their leaders. And if you go to other circles of our brothers and sisters, they'll be blaming the Bilderbergers. They'll be blaming the Agenda 30 or whatever it is now. And this is the global plan to impoverish and starve us. Shut up. You are in the white positive sphere. You're going free. You're coming to these gatherings. You understand exactly what's going on here. You understand how anti-whiteism results in these sorts of outcomes. You're able to talk about it intelligently with friends and family, instead of just your weird pot-smoking friend.
It employs more than 1,000 people and more than 139,000 indirect jobs.
Created by white men.
And it's the #1 port in the country for the import and export of automobiles and farm and construction machinery, a top importer of sugar, and second in the nation for export of coal, and not just coal for black people, Republicans, coal for everybody.
Anti-white narrative. Like, how do it's just demonized white people. How does that make any sense except for I just want anything to demonize white? Fly in my house, white people, I hate them.
Joining me now is Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott. I will allow.
Okay, look, this guy, Scott, what is it? Brandon? What's his name? He obviously is somewhat responsible for being called a DEI mayor. It's a dumbass thing to say because the population voted him in, obviously. And I know what they want to convey. It's that he's non-white and incompetent. And that's why he's in the position. That's not why he's in the position. He's in that position because of anti-whiteism. And what role is he playing in making it easy for these losers to slander him? He's a fucking mayor, and look how he's dressed. His hair doesn't appear to be combed to me. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe that's what it looks like combed. But maybe he needs a different hairstyle. This looks like a guy on the basketball court that you would find everywhere in American cities. A hoodie on, the string is missing. I mean, how much more lowbrow can you get? And he's got a t-shirt under that. None of this is appropriate. None of it is white. So, why is he dressed like this? Because it's anti-white to do so. Because it is a middle finger to the white race, to Western norms, to Western standards. That's why he's dressed like this. Do you see how you have the option to focus on whether or not he's just some lazy, quarter-ounce bag smoking inner city dweller, or you can focus on the fact that he's anti-white and attacking our standards and norms. What's more productive? What's going to be of value?
Allow you, Mayor Scott, if you choose to do so, to respond to the tomfoolery and attacks on you.
She must have just learned that word because she definitely does not want to call the white devils or say that the white devils are engaged in tomfoolery. That means like silliness. That's not what she doesn't. She heard a big word, is my guess.
For having the nerve to be black and also a mayor.
Well, I think
having the nerve to be black and a mayor. You want to stay in their story? Brothers and sisters out there, brothers and sisters, gather round. Do you want to respond to that by saying, we don't care what weight he is. We only care about his policy. I mean, really? Just bend over your vegetable head and let this Joy Reid club you to death like a baby seal.
Listen, I know, and we all know, and you know very well, that black men and young black men in particular have been the boogeyman for those who are racist and think that only straight, wealthy white men should have a say in anything.
Okay, so is that in reality at all? No reason freaking out over that, right? No reason freaking out. That is completely true in the anti-white narrative. Every movie, every book, every magazine, every silver screen, everywhere, that's the reality. That the world is just white men, all in power. Nobody else is allowed to be in power. That will still be the story when the last white guy is executed, if we allowed it to get to that. Has nothing to do with reality whatsoever. So we go after, when we talk about these things, if we were to argue with them, or we're trying to bring strangers and brothers and sisters and friends over to white well-being, we go after the reality. We don't have the debate inside the anti-white narrative. Joy Reid is anti-white for saying something that's so anti-white and untrue. Obviously, patently untrue.
We've been the boogeyman from them since the first day they brought us to this country.
First day, I want you to pay attention to, and I know you've seen it a bunch of times, but the way that anti-whites talk, in this case, black anti-whites, he just said us. They brought us. Like, they were in the ships. They were the ones that had to pick cotton or tobacco. They were the ones, and now it's their time to get revenge. Oh, he's going to say it. But now it's their time. They did this to us. White people, on the other hand, talk disavowing anything about us, even our own victimization. White people can't say they're doing this to us because they won't. Here we do.
And what they mean by DEI, in my opinion, is duly elected incumbent. We know what they want to say, but they don't have.
That's so. So if they had been smart enough to use DIE, he wouldn't have been able to use that. But can you believe this guy? He doesn't look terribly bright to me. And he outwitted them.
Have the courage to say the N-word, and the fact that I don't.
That is a manipulation. That's a trick that I guarantee you these people fell for. I guarantee you'll find Twitter thread. I haven't seen any, but I guarantee you'll find Twitter threads where they play this and they're like, I'll say it. Absolutely vegetables.
Believe in their untruthful and wrong ideology, and I am very proud.
What we should be calling him is anti-white. Listen to what he's very proud of.
Proud of my heritage and who I am and where I come from scares them.
So him being proud of his heritage, who he is, and where he come from scares white people. Now, he has not specified a particular group of white people, has he? I didn't hear any specification.
Because me being at my position means that their way of thinking, their way of life of being comfortable and suffering, and while everyone else.
Their way of life of being comfortable. If you're a white person, have you lived comfort because you're white? And whatever comfort we have, we built it, motherfucker, so it's ours. We built this nation. The comfort we deserve, any comfort we get, we deserve. Because we died, we bled, we suffered in the maelstroms of conflict against other human beings, against other whites, against nature, against disease. We deserve it. It's ours. And every bit of it has been, every single bit of it has been a struggle and a hardship. Speaking entirely from the anti-white narrative. The white race all comfortable. The non-white race is all suffering. Maybe like the two non-whites on this screen. The six-figure salaried, hideous black woman, anti-white black woman, and the mayor of an entire American city that his people did not build. I mean, I couldn't even imagine becoming the mayor of a city that my race didn't build. Every day I would wake up and say, what in the fuck is going on? How did I become the mayor of a city that my people had no hand in creating? That's the hardship that they're suffering, these anti-white pigs.
Else suffers is going to be at risk, and they should be afraid, because that's my purpose in life.
And
their way of and wrong, ideally elected incumbent.
Be careful. Listen right here. Your way of life is over.
We know what they want to say, but they don't have the courage to say the N-word. And the fact that I don't believe in their untruthful and wrong ideology, and I am very proud of my heritage and who I am. And
me too. Proud of my heritage and who I am.
where I come from scares them, because me being at my position means that their way of thinking, their way of life of being comfortable and suffering, and while everyone else suffers, is going to be at risk. And they should be afraid, because that's my purpose in life.
He just said their way of life, white people, of any comfort that we have is at risk because he's in office and it's his purpose in life. Did I hear that wrong? White people, voters, white voters would be much more animated. I think Republican voters would be much more animated and angry to get out of Republican politicians and extract from them what we want if white Republican voters on average would focus on our victimization. This right here should make every white parent, uncle, aunt, grandmother, grandfather become a fiery zealot to put an end to anti-whiteism. But what's going to happen? A bunch of them are going to, people are going to become white negative, say negative things about these people on the basis of their birth. And the much larger percentage of the white race, much, much larger, is going to immediately ignore the threat to our well-being. He wants to, his purpose in life is to remove our comfort. They're going to ignore that and abstractionize. They're going to ignore that and want to talk about an abstraction instead. I have so much contempt for white people when they do that. Ain't nobody going to go out, and they just don't. They just don't. Nobody's going to go out and become an impassioned fanatic for voter integrity, for any of these other, pick an abstraction, whatever your favorite abstraction is, whatever their favorite abstraction is, and none of them going to go out. This motherfucker anti-white said that it was his purpose in life and his position in government is to end the comfort of white people. You're not going to get fired up about that. No, it's just going to be, he didn't specify any particular group of white people. He said white people and their comfort, and I'm a threat to them because it's my life's mission to be that threat and to hold this position. But you watch how many conservative brothers and sisters out there are going to completely ignore this. I'm telling you what, anti-whites of any race can say directly into the face of white parents, we are going to kill your child because he or she is white. And those conservative white parents will abstractionize. You just want to do it for Agenda 3030. You just want to do it for population control. You disgust me. You absolutely disgust me. I think she said something at the end, and I want to get on to
make our country better and to make our economy stronger. God bless them. And to anybody who has anything negative to say about this mayor or those people, we know who you are. We see you. We see.
That's a threat. You say anything negative about this anti-white. By the way, I'm not going to watch the rest here. She talks about how it was Hispanics, like, what was it? 6 Hispanics on the bridge filling in potholes, and that several of them aren't even American. And they're the ones who are doing the work, completely ignoring white men engineered, built the bridge, built the country, built Baltimore, built the harbor. Who's pulling the wreckage out? Who's going to be building the next bridge? It doesn't matter how America, how many blacks were there in America when it was 90+% white? They weren't even allowed to be citizens. We gave them citizenship. No thanks for that. So this bitch, this vile anti-white turd, look at this turd, saying, well, it's all owed to the Hispanics. They're the ones who are doing the work. on the bridge. America, the white race owes them. Fuck you. Anti-white scum. And then she hear at the very end of it, we're watching you. If you have anything negative to say, white people, about anti-whiteism, we're coming for you. Well, if I have anything to do with it, your network will come to an end. I would pull the license so fast on that network, and then I would be trying hordes of employees there for treason to the country, including you. Piece of shit. We're watching you. Yeah. But why conservative brothers and sisters? Go ahead and turn this into an abstraction. They're talking about freedom of speech, right? You're going to have to come too, or it's going to be too late.